People are catching COVID-19, even people who are previously vaccinated. We don't talk much about it here because people start arguing. But why miss a good argument? I got a clip. It's the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Patrick. He's a real piece of garbage. He wants to blame the blacks for COVID deaths or COVID cases in Texas. Here he is on Laura Ingraham, spitting fire.
They're coming after your state really quickly here, and as a response, coming after your state because the increased COVID numbers, hospitalizations, deaths are up in Texas, and there's a direct assault on your governor's policies and your state's policies. Very brief response.
Yeah. Well, Laura, the COVID is spreading, particularly most of the numbers are with the unvaccinated, and the Democrats like to blame Republicans on that. Well, the biggest group in most states are African Americans who have not been vaccinated. And the last time I checked, over 90% of them vote for Democrats in their major cities and major counties. So it's up to the Democrats to...
Look at Laura's face. She's like, does she just pleasure herself on TV? Let's rewind that. Look at her face when he said the blacks. Look at her. Look at her. She's enjoying this too much.
Policies, yeah. Very brief response.
Yeah. Well, Laura, the COVID is spreading, particularly most of the numbers are with the unvaccinated, and the Democrats like to blame Republicans on that. Well, the biggest group in most states are African Americans who have not been vaccinated. And the last time I checked, over 90% of them vote for Democrats in their major cities and major counties. So it's up to the Democrats to get, just as it's up to Republicans, to try to get as many people vaccinated. But we respect the fact that if people don't want the vaccination, we're not going to force it on them. That's their individual right.
Let me get this right. Let's get this right, Johnson. Get this right. Patrick here. Dan Patrick's a piece of shit. He's also a liar. Not that many black people live in Texas, man. Over 50% of Texans don't even have a vaccine. And blacks only make up like 11%, right? Isn't that true? Hold on a second. I got numbers here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. We got this thing called facts, Johnson. We got this thing called facts, so we can look at here. What we got here? We got 100% of African Americans in Texas equal 11%, not 13. 11% of Texas population. So they can't possibly account for the 55% of Texans that are unvaxxed. Cut the shit. Cut the shit. In March, Governor Abbott, he blamed COVID on undocumented immigrants. This seems like a change in direction. That's right. So Governor Abbott, that was Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. We also have the governor of Texas recently tested positive for COVID-19. Now, he was vaccinated, but he's also a fucking idiot who didn't want the state to have to wear masks. So he's against mask mandates, but on the same time, they're double talking, blaming the blacks and the immigrants for COVID. Meanwhile, you're not doing everything you can to prevent the transmission of COVID. Here goes Governor Abbott talking to people about his recent diagnosis of having COVID-19, testing positive. Here it is.
Hi, this is Governor Greg Abbott. As you may have heard by now, I have tested positive for COVID-19. I test myself every day, and today is the first day that I tested positive. The good news is that my wife continues to test negative. Also want you to know that I have received the COVID-19 vaccine, and that may be one reason why I'm really not feeling any symptoms right now.
Maybe Governor Abbott's gone and hanging out with the blacks. Maybe Governor Abbott likes his coffee dog. Maybe Governor Abbott got a little fetish for the chocolate side of things, the chocolate side of town. Maybe Governor Abbott fancies himself a chocolate sundae or two. Governor Abbott, obviously, because it's only the blacks that got it, right? It's the blacks. You got to catch it from the blacks. Who you hanging out with there, Governor Abbott? A lot of people are talking about Texas was a place to go. Yes, please go to Texas. It'll lower the amount of people on the planet. This will help us fight global warming and climate change. This guy, both the governor of Texas and lieutenant governor of Texas are elected by conservatives. They're Republicans. So they want to blame Democrats. What about how you run your state? Your state, Johnson. Out of one side of the neck, they say we need to do all we can to not, pass along this disease and protect ourselves. And on the other side is do whatever you want to do. Another thing is, well, but if you don't do it and you get sick, that's your fault. But if you do it, but if you get sick, it's not a problem. But if you don't wear it, if you don't care, if we want it both ways because we got to get elected to office. Meanwhile, Governor Abbott's getting the best micrododal treatment possible by man. All kinds of technologies in his testing in order to get injections to get treated for his current condition. Governor Abbott should just be kicked out of office just for having a dumbass lieutenant governor. I mean, how many people remember when Dan Patrick just a few months ago was saying that seniors should die? Seniors should die in order to open up the economy again. Yeah, forget the old people. Let them die. We can't lose our way of life just to stay alive. Oh, you think I'm joking? You don't think he would say some shit like that? You're like, he's a horrible person, Tim, but he would never say that. Touche, mofo.
All people should, but I'm not living in fear of COVID-19. What I'm living in fear of is what's happening to this country. And, Tucker, no one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that all America loves for your children and grandchildren? And if that's the exchange, I'm all in. And that doesn't make me noble or brave or anything like that. I just think there are lots of grandparents out there in this country, like me, I have 6 grandchildren, that what we all care about and what we love more than anything are those children. And I want to, live smart and see through this, but I don't want the whole country to be sacrificed. And that's what I see. I've talked to hundreds of people.
That's right. This motherfucker was willing to let grandma die just to open up Starbucks. Yep. Just so he could drive up and get his latte. He's willing to watch grandma die, Johnson. Watch Pop down a ventilator machine just so he can get his hair plugs trimmed. These are your elected officials, your service